Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about the spike in ammonia level in Yamuna River. So Yamuna River, there has been a recent report where the spike in ammonia level has been observed. So what it is all about, how it is going to affect the health of the people living over there, as well as what is ammonia and what is ammonia as a pollutant. So we will discuss about all this in this video. So let's begin. So ammonia levels in the river flowing into Delhi from Haryana had reached nearly 3 parts per million on Thursday, almost 6 times above the acceptable limit. So this is the thing, that it has reached 6 times of its acceptable limit. Now what is the acceptable limit? This is something you need to remember, that the acceptable limit of ammonia in drinking water as per the Bureau of Indian Standard is 0.5 ppm. So 0.5 ppm is actually the acceptable amount that should be present in a drinking water. But what it has reached 3 ppm. So you can see it has almost increased by 6 times, which basically says that it is going at a dangerous level. So this is something you need to know. Just remember the limit. The permissible limit is 0.5 ppm, which is decided by the Bureau of Indian Standards. Now let's try to understand that why this particular ammonia got entered into the Yamuna River in the first place. So what has been speculated, or the most likely cause or source, is believed to be the effluents from dye units, distilleries and other factories in Panipat and Sonipat districts in Haryana. So Panipat and Sonipat districts in Haryana have factories of dyes and distilleries, which are basically the one which could generate ammonia in its effluent. So it has been considered that they could be the source because of which the ammonia content in the river has increased. And apart from that, the sewage from the some unsewered colonies in this stretch of the river. So basically in the Delhi, Haryana, all that border, the Yamuna, the sewage disposal is not very much mature over there. So that could also lead to the problem of increase in the levels of ammonia. Now this is something which need to be taken seriously by the authorities over there, because excessive ammonia in drinking water could pose a lot of health risks. So let's try to understand what is ammonia. So ammonia is a colorless gas and is used as an industrial chemical in the production of fertilizers, plastics, synthetic fibers, dyes and other products. So you can understand that all the factories which are working in the field of fertilizers, plastics, synthetic fibers and other products will be producing ammonia as a byproduct. So it is a colorless gas, first of all, that get produced or is used in these processes. So in effluent you can see the amount of ammonia. It consists of hydrogen and nitrogen, and in its aqueous form it is ammonium hydroxide. So when it reacts with the water, it produces ammonium hydroxide. So the chemical formula of ammonia look like this. It has nitrogen as well as hydrogen atom in it. This inorganic compound has a pungent smell. So this is also something by which it could be like recognized or traced or observed, is that it has a pungent smell. And what is the occurrence? Ammonia occurs naturally in the environment from the breakdown of organic waste matter. So this is how the ammonia also occurs in the environment. In fact, when you have studied your nitrogen cycle, for an example, you must have heard about how the nitrogen which was present in atmosphere get converted into ammonium or ammonium ion, and which eventually get converted into nitrates or nitrite, which are consumed by the plant. Some plants also consume the ammonium ions by in its raw form also. So the whole process by which it again finally get converted into the nitrites or nitrates. So for that purpose, the entire cycle over here, you see ammonia is the one which get produced in the environment itself. So in the nitrogen cycle, you might have studied about the process of nitrogen fixing, how the some of the bacteria work on the atmospheric nitrogen to convert it into ammonia. And that particular thing is like very near to the organic matter. You will be able to see this. Also, a very characteristic feature of ammonia is that it is lighter than air. So it is lighter than air, and it has a pungent smell, and it is colorless gas. So these are the physical properties associated with ammonia. And apart from the industrial units where it is used or being produced as a byproduct, it also occurs in the environment naturally, and that you must have already studied in the nitrogen cycle. If not, go back to your NCRT of geography. You will see the gaseous biogeochemical cycles over there, and you will be able to understand it better. Now let's move forward and try to understand how this is causing pollution. So it may found its way to ground and surface water sources through industrial effluents or through contamination by sewage. So this is how the ammonia is entering the water stream. If the concentration of ammonia is above 1 ppm, it is toxic to fishes. So now, as of now, we just saw that in Yamuna it has reached the level of 3 ppm, which means it is highly dangerous or toxic to the aquatic life over there. If it reach below the 1 ppm itself, it is toxic to fishes. So 3 ppm is definitely toxic. In humans, long-term ingestion of water having ammonia level of 1 ppm or above may lead to the damage of internal organ. So it poses major health risk on to the humans as well. So in that regard, it is actually very important that the permissible limit of ammonia is maintained in the water. So this is some of the ways how which it could be entering into the water stream and what is the effect. Now the thing is, what are the challenges? Like, even though ideally it is like we should be treating the sewage properly, the effluent should not be directly discharged into the river, all these things have been like always been talked about and has been documented. But let's talk about the few of the challenges which are specifically in case of Yamuna, and because of which it has become difficult to manage the ammonia level in that river. So Delhi dependent on Haryana for up to 70% of its water needs. So that is also an important fact, that Delhi does not have any river system of its own, and it is dependent, 70% dependency on the Haryana. Haryana, with a large number of people involved in agriculture, has water paucity issues of its own. So there is again a problem that even Haryana is like mainly an agriculturally dominated state, and in that regard it needs water for irrigation. So if you know, in the geographical area also, Haryana and Punjab lie in the semi-arid region. So semi-arid region, which means they are also heavily dependent on the irrigation facility and Yamuna river, for an example, for providing the water to the farms. So in that regard, Haryana is also facing the problem of water paucity. Both states have argued over maintaining 10 cubic flow in the Yamuna at all times. So basically there has been lot of discussion, negotiation between Haryana government and Delhi government, and they have talked about like at least 10 cubic meter per second should be maintained in the Yamuna at all times. Both states have approached the court several times over the past decade to get what they call an equitable share of water. So again, like the cases of water sharing of rivers across various states in India, even Delhi and Haryana also have reached out to court at various occasions to figure out what is the equitable share of water of Yamuna river. But the problem is the lack of minimum ecological flow. Even though there has been a tussle between the government, at the end of the day that 10 cubics is not being maintained, which means the ecological flow, that is called as the minimum flow that a river should carry at any point of time to be able to fully function its all role, providing the productivity as well as segregating or separating out the pollutants. So the lack of minimum ecological flow also means the accumulation of other pollutants. So that is also one of the major reason which has been pointed out, that because of the exploitation or because of the water issue being utilized by Delhi as well as Haryana, the minimum ecological flow in Yamuna river is not able to be maintained, and that has led to accumulation of ammonia in this case, but it could also lead to accumulation of other pollutants. So these are the challenges which are there in case of how the river water could be managed in Yamuna river, and the authority should come up with a plan through which, first of all, the proper disposal of sewage is taken care of, and at the other end, the minimum ecological flow is also maintained by negotiating over the water sharing issue. So I hope you have understood this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.